I want to start with something that's a little funny, but I was doing some research and I came upon an article, and Padma was referenced as the 23 most successful people who get a very early start. Is that still the case? And I'm curious about sleep for all of you. How do you handle that? Is that something that is challenging? But Padma, please tell us.
Yeah, so I think that article was a few years old. When my son was really young, I used to get up really early. I think going back to Sheryl's point, I used to get up at 4 in the morning. I think that article talks about that. And I would do my email before my son got up and take him to school and drop him off. And my husband's an early riser too. So I think I don't get up that early anymore. My son is now 20 and he's in college. So thank God for that. They do grow up, for those of you that have young kids. And I do believe in getting a lot of sleep, though. I think Ariana Huffington she's on this kick about sleep, and I think she's right. I think it's something that definitely there's a correlation between getting enough sleep and performing and making smart decisions. And these days, I started something for myself about a year ago. I found that I was working all the time because technology that we create helps us work all the time.
Yes.
And I'm an engineer and I love to use technology, but I started something about a year ago. On Saturdays, I don't touch anything that is digital or online. And so I call it my digital detox. And I spend time with friends, more of my women friends. I paint, I write haikus, I do things that are more fun. So I have kind of shifted from where I was when that article was written.
Sheryl, how do you handle that? I know you have a conference call after this event, so you're constantly scheduling things as well.
Ariana also pestered me about sleep, and she's right. I think I learned this from my kids. So I have 2 children. They're at Oak Knoll. One is 6 and one is 8. And what you learn as a mother is when your kids are tired, they're cranky no matter what, and when they're well rested, they're fine no matter what. And then I realized that was true of me too. That really, when I'm well rested, nothing upsets me. But when I'm not, it's harder and decisions are harder. And, not that we ever get cranky with our husbands, but that could happen too. And so I really realized that myself. And so now I really try to get more sleep. And I prioritize it. And I work out less. And I don't always get through every email, but it makes a big difference. I think I make better decisions.
Noosheen?
Well, I've been a workaholic my whole life, so I wake up about 5:45 in the morning, and I work until 11 or later. So I like it. I love it.
And you're one of those people, I bet you're one of those people who just doesn't need as much sleep as some of the rest of us.
Yeah, at Oracle, we had a cup we had made for our department that U.S. Revenue, proves that sleep is not necessary for human function. But at Oracle, I worked 18-hour days, 7 days a week, Christmas Day, Thanksgiving Day, every day. And I loved it then as well. I've never really missed it. A couple of times, I think I've been reminded by God/nature, I need to slow down, but it's me against the body, just defying. No, I'm nicer to my body than that. But generally, I try to get by with as little as I can.
Well, I have a lot more questions to ask, but we also have the girls standing by who have questions as well. So our first girl, if you could please go ahead on this side. Sheryl, why don't you start with that, because you have a whole interesting take on mentoring. And
yeah, there's a lot to say on mentor. I've had a lot of mentors. Right now Mark, who I work with, and Larry Summers for a very long time, and lots of people I've worked with.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. I get asked that question a lot. I don't think I can say that there's a single person that I've considered a mentor. I think for me, I learn different things from different people. And sometimes they're people that I work for, and sometimes they're people that actually work for me, work on my team. A couple of my team members are here. Susan, who's part of my leadership team. She's amazing. She's an amazing leader, and she brings all the women in corporate dev, because we're a technical company, who are not technical women, because there's a lot of events we do at Cisco that are for technical women. And so I learned from her that you can work in technology and not be an engineer, and that's okay too. So I think I try to learn from different people that I work with and I work for. I think John is an amazing person to work for. He is truly customer-centric, so I learned that from him. I learned from Sheryl the power of speaking up. I think she's taught me that. You know, she hosts, she's being very humble. She hosts these events at her home. She brings a group of women from the Valley. That's how I really got to know her well, although we knew each other before. I learned from her the power of actually networking, and I've taken that idea, and now I do events at my home. They're not lean in circles per se, but whatever you call them, right. I think just bringing groups of people is so important. Groups of women is so important.
Sheryl, if you could just briefly address, you know, you'll tell young women, don't go up to someone and say, hey, will you be my mentor? Can you tell them what your advice really is?
Yeah, no, I think we have a problem, which is we have the wrong message to the wrong audience. That fundamentally, it is true that mentorship and sponsorship are very important for career progression. It's also true that men get a lot more of it than women. The problem is that we walk around telling all the women they need mentors and sponsors, and the result of that is when people like the three of us and you go anywhere, people we don't know walk up to us and say, will you be my mentor? And never has a mentor relationship formed in that way. Mm-hmm. And the problem is we've got the wrong message. To young women, we need to say, you can do this. Go excel. That's why Lean In has rolled out Lean In Circles, because they're peer mentors. But I think it's, you know, the modern day workman's version of the Prince Charming. In 1950s, we told women, sit still, a man is going to come, he's going to sweep you off, kiss you, and you're going to be fine. And now we tell women, you can't do it without a man, but usually a mentor who's going to come in, sweep you off to the corner office. Wasn't going to happen then, it's not going to happen now. And we systematically give women in our society messages that they will depend on others. We do not tell men all the time they need mentors. We don't do it. I've never had a man walk up to me and say, will you be my mentor? And so we need to tell women that they can do this. Now, the women do in fact need mentors. So that message needs to go to the people in power, who are men and women. We need to tell the people in power, go mentor young women. It should be a badge of honor in any company and every nonprofit, through every organization, for us to mentor young women. But the onus of that mentorship has to be on the people who can mentor, not the mentees. I also think part of not waiting around for a mentor is, you know, when I think about the mentors in my life, my mentors told me not to go to Google or Facebook. Never gonna happen, tiny companies. It was my peers who understood how powerful those will be. And so there's just a lot of research to support that we can get great advice from people our own age, and that's why Lean In Circles are, I think, proving so powerful.
Noosheen, did you want to comment on this?
Well, I think the peer mentorship is really important. I've had other mothers with older children, for example, who mentor me on parenthood. When I started doing philanthropy full-time, I've had a series of mentors in philanthropy who were full-time philanthropists already, and their foci and the way they went about it. I have mentors who are in their 80s. I just had lunch with one of my mentors who's dealing with an ailing spouse, so I think about those issues with my own parents. A couple of my mentors that have been very influential in my life, one of them is Dr. Vartan Gregorian, the president of Carnegie Corporation, who's led my sort of independent studies in diasporas and diaspora influence, and also in education and philanthropy. Dr. Gary Becker, who's a University of Chicago professor, Nobel laureate, has helped me build a cadre of young economists to try to transform our world economy and build a better global middle class in the future. So I get mentors of all kinds, very academic, very technical, very family related, etc. And I really live that motto. I mentor and I get mentored. I ask for it and I build it and I give it and I take it.
Awesome.
Well, mine is very simple. When I was, many years ago, I was at Oracle and I was giving my dad, who happened to be in town, a tour of the company. And I told him the company was doubling in size and revenue and in employees, but I was thinking of quitting and getting a master's degree. And my dad sort of stopped and he said, wow, so you're saying that you could do anything you want here and you're going as fast as you possibly can. I said, yeah. And he said, this is the best education you're ever going to get. You know, the American corporation is one of the 7 wonders of the world. This is it. Work here, masters later. So I was lucky once I had a lot of those doubling years under my belt and saved the company from a few serious disasters. I was able to go to Stanford Business School and get a master's later. But timing is really critical in life, and I think my dad reminded me of that.
Sheryl, you have to take this one.
Yeah, I mean, so excited to take this one. I wish I were surprised that that happened, because this happens systematically every day. It happens in every school. It happens in most of our homes. It happens in every workplace. And I think what we need to do is make people aware of this. When I say in every audience, one-on-one, we never call boys bossy, the same look goes across everyone's face, which is, oh yeah, that's true. It's something that people just don't think of, but as soon as you understand it, you fully understand it. I think if we make people aware of that, we would like your story. We're going to put it up in big things on the web and get it all over the press if you're willing to do it. But we want more people to tell the story of being called bossy. We're going to ask women to say, you know, I'm not bossy, I'm a leader.
Well, what could she do in this situation? Could she go back to this judge or this panel? I mean, shouldn't this be raised?
Yeah. So I think in every situation, we want to create enough awareness out there that you have the ability, but we won't hit everyone. And so we're hoping, you know, you can do it with my book. You can do it with all the studies cited in my book. We gave you all the research. There's a video up online about this, which is creating a level playing field. We want to give people the tools to point this out, to say, if we systematically tell girls this, if you tell me this, you're holding girls back. And so they can see the impact they're having. I think almost no one does this on purpose. I think that person gave you that advice with good intentions. We just have to help him see that it's not very good advice.
And you can send him a lot of research his way.
A lot of research his way.
We have time for one more question. Well, Padma, why don't you take this one?
No, I think, you know, the biggest challenge, I think, is people underestimate you. And it's great fun to kick ass and prove them wrong. I check into hotels to this day, and it's really interesting. And I travel a lot for work. And I pick up the phone and call the front desk for something, and they'll say, Mr. Warrior, how can we help you? They just assume you're Mr. Warrior. And, you know, it starts there, and it just goes downhill from there. So I think, you know, I get great pleasure. And I think it does take, I think, back to the previous person's question, it'll take some time to build enough confidence in yourself to be able to push back. But I always tell people, especially in tech, right? Because engineers, especially in the field of technology, you have to be analytical, and that's considered a very hard skill. And it's very non-feminine to be analytical, and I think we have to change that paradigm. If you kind of go back, and I'm actually on this mission now, I'm beginning to identify all the inventions that have been made by women. And I just tweeted yesterday, it was actually a woman who discovered, a chemist, PhD in chemistry, who discovered non-wrinkle cotton that is now used in many fabric retail and, you know, shirts that men wear. So it's actually fascinating to go back in history and find all the women that have invented things. So I would say just be confident and, you know, be yourself. And try, you don't have to be, or you don't have to look like a man to be really technical in order to work in the field of technology. I love shoes. I talk about shoes all the time. I talk about shoes when I'm giving a keynote on the geekiest networking protocol there is on the planet. So I think it's just being able to be true to you, who you are. That's important.
You're dying to say something, aren't you?
Well, I just want to say, if you compare technology to other industries, it is an excellent industry for women, because I think there is a meritocracy for sure. If you have talent, it will rise to the top. The average age is younger, so there's not a whole lot of baggage in terms of dealing with people who have been in their jobs for 30 years. The companies are growing fast, and when a company is growing fast, you can grow up, you can move up pretty fast. And for everyone in the room that wants to change the world, technology is the best way to change the world. Smartphone has done more for anti-corruption efforts than any single nonprofit ever has. And the biotech inventions coming down the line are going to cure a lot of human suffering. So go to technology, it's good. You can change the world, and it's meritocratic, and you can move up fast.
Fantastic. Well, big hand to our panel. wish we had more time.